In the over 3 years since its addition, Minecraft's ancient cities have remained a focal point in discussion for one of Minecraft's most anticipated updates. Within the outcries for an end update, a combat update, or an inventory update, one potential update uniquely stands just as prevalent as these, requests not for a rework of an existing feature, but rather the addition of a brand new one. The addition of a brand new dimension. Minecraft's fourth dimension. An idea that seemingly could actually happen. You have the fact that at one point during the development for 1.19, the smaller versions of the center structure were referred to as small portal statue. There's Mojang playing with adding a new dimension multiple times in April Fool's updates. There's reinforced steep slate mirroring end portal frames, and there's Sculk seemingly spreading from the center portal structure, similar to how Netherrack spreads from ruined portals. Now, some of you might think that this is all just a big stretch of logic, and that thinking that this means a new dimension makes me look a little crazy. And the crime board doesn't help, does it? If Minecraft was to get a new dimension though, Sculk just by itself seems like a likely candidate to be a focus of that dimension, with how otherworldly it looks and acts. And I think that there's enough to piece together what a Sculk dimension would even look like. Not just by looking at the April Fool's updates, seriously there's really good ideas here, not just by looking in-game, but by also looking at the concept art and inspirations that inspired what we see in the game today, as well as potentially using ideas from the spin-off games. So today, that's what I want to talk about. What would a Sculk dimension look like? What purpose would it serve? And would there even be enough to justify the existence of a new dimension? Well, let's see. So first off, what would the purpose of this dimension even be? In Minecraft, each of the dimensions in-game have their own unique purpose with their own theme and functionality. The overworld is basically Earth, acting as a home for the player and is the center of the story of the game. The Nether is an underworld that's both required for beating the game, but is also a tool for fast travel. And the End is a mysterious void that's home to the Enderman. It acts as a milestone for the player in the form of a boss fight, acting as this game's ending, in massive air quotes. So when it comes to a fourth dimension based around Sculk, I think it would potentially be based around two ideas. It would have two themes, for both its story and its gameplay. These being the themes of life and time, to be a tool for the player. The life theme comes from Sculk being a substance made out of XP, the essence of life in Minecraft, dropped from mobs and grows with the more experience you have living. We could also take the fact that the End and Nether were originally based on heaven and not heaven, and make this dimension be a kind of purgatory, a state between life and death, which I think Sculk works with super well. The time theme would just be a play on this being Minecraft's fourth dimension, like a dimension of time. It wouldn't be a time travel dimension, but it would have a focus on having fragments of the past and would deal with archiving both the past, but also the lives of the things that once lived. It's these two themes of life and time that would be the bedrock of this dimension's gameplay and story, and would be what earns it its name, the Echoes. But with all of that, we still need to answer three other big questions about this place. Question 1. How do we even get there? This question on how we're supposed to even open this portal is the most common question about ancient cities. Do we need to put something on the reinforced deep slate like end portal frames? Do we need to kill the Warden? Does it have something to do with that redstone room underneath the portal? Lots of ways that this could work. So by totally not using a potential leak for a potential spin-off game as inspiration, here's what I did. To activate the portal, you'll need to loot the ancient city to craft a silencer block, made out of 4 echo shards and 1 wool. You'll then need to go in front of the portal and place down the silencer block along with a note block right on top of it. Then hit the note block. The note block will attempt to play a sound, but the silencer will cancel out any noise, resulting in the note block producing this weird frequency. You can't even hear it, but this specific frequency is a vibration that's picked up by all the Sculk throughout the entire city. All of the Sculk will then go off, and then the portal will open by beams shooting out of the reinforced deep slate before merging to create an XP colored portal. All of the Sculk in the city will also turn monochrome as they've become dead Sculk. This is so that you can return to the portal without having to worry about the Warden, but is also because the XP colored portal is activated by draining all of the XP from the city. All of this could also maybe trigger some big boss fight, but I didn't think of that. Maybe be some alternative version of the Warden, since the Warden we have now isn't a boss. That's why I didn't have you kill it to open the portal. This thing wasn't designed to be a boss. Now, question 2. What would this dimension look like? In the Poisonous Potato April Fool's update, the Potato Dimension has this cool feature where it kind of mirrored the overworld, where going through a potato portal at one structure would send you to the same structure on the other side. So maybe the echoes could also mirror the overworld. It would have the same base generation of the overworld, just using the same shape, with non-ruined versions of structures found in the overworld, like a non-destroyed ruined portal. All of them would also be at the same coordinates that they would be at in the overworld. Generation would also be made out of Sculk variants of stone, dirt, grass, sand, and gravel that all behave differently from regular Sculk. This is because making the dimension out of regular Sculk would just lead to... I didn't have any specific inspirations for that, I just figured it was a good idea. One thing that I did have inspiration for was the sky. One of the main inspirations for the look of Sculk was black opal, and how it had this very space-looking appearance to it. So why don't we make the sky look like space, but it's made out of XP instead of stars and space dust? Also, just shoehorning this in, I didn't have any specific ideas for biomes. We could have mirrored Sculk versions of biomes, like a forest where a forest would be in the overworld, and this could be our chance to have some like dark blue tree variant, but yeah, I kind of forgot about biomes. So moving on. Question 3. What do we even do here? In the Craft Mine April Fool's update, there was an entire gameplay mechanic that was used every time that you finished a world. After completing a mine, you take the mine as an item and save it in a mine revisitor block. This allows you to access and revisit that mine anytime that you want to, but the entire world remains perfectly preserved, with you not being able to break or place any blocks. This idea of being able to archive things will be a major part of the echoes. It'll tie into the structures you find by explaining how they got here, and will even be a big part of how the life and time themes are even used. And I promise this isn't because mine revisitor blocks to use the Sculk Shrieker model. There would be a new block called an Archiver block. Crafted out of 4 echo shards and 1 lodestone, this block can be used to archive the area around it by copying the blocks and putting them at the same coordinates that they are in the overworld, but in the echoes. Don't worry, there's a way to change the size of the area archived, but I'll get back to that later. The structure in the echoes you've made will be completely indestructible, and you won't be able to interact with any container blocks or place any blocks within the area. This block is how to explain structures that are already in the echoes, because in the middle of every single structure throughout the echoes would be a pile of dead Sculk, and underneath is a corrupted Archiver block. The civilizations that knew about Archiver blocks would have used them, which is why some structures, like ruined portals, are here, but those who didn't know about the blocks didn't archive their builds, which is why a structure like desert temples aren't here. Archiver blocks are what protect their structures. They're why you can't break blocks in your own archive structures or open chests. But when they're corrupted and broken, you're able to break them to remove that protection. But what about this whole life theme that I've been talking about? Well, that comes in the form of 2 new mobs. The first one takes inspiration from the original version of the LA, the Wisp, which maybe also could have inspired the Wisp in Minecraft Dungeons. This new mob is the XP Soul. They're a 3D version of an XP orb that flies around the echoes and are completely passive. These are actually the souls of mobs that have died, and will even play a faint version of their old mob sound to show that. So if you find the XP soul of a cow, you'd hear a faint moo from them. The idea is that when a mob dies and they drop their XP, that's not all of their XP. A tiny bit is sent to the echoes, which becomes their purgatory. Here they roam around until they lose their XP and fully die. When you find an XP soul, you can either attack it to harvest its remaining XP and kill it off for good, or right-click it and give it some of your own XP to revive it. This will cause the XP soul to flash a white color before disappearing. When they're revived, they're sent back to the overworld at the ancient city you entered from. XP souls for dead pets would also appear here, with any mob that you've tamed before in its XP soul form following you around and even emitting heart particles. They'll even keep their names if you ever name tagged them. But these aren't the only souls here. Echo souls will act as this dimension's zombies, with them behaving like a combination of zombified piglins and wardens. Echo souls are the souls of the people who built the structures, meaning you'd find them in every single structure here. Even after dying and being sent to the echoes, they were so attached to their structures and stayed there the whole time that even after losing all of their XP, they remained stuck at their structures, literally unable to leave them. If they ever attempt to walk out, they're just teleported right back to the middle. When it comes to their gameplay, Echo Souls can't see the player, but can sense them more and more the closer the player is and the more sound that they make. They are technically neutral. They won't attack you if you don't make them feel threatened. What makes them feel threatened? Sprinting, getting too close, opening chests, attacking them, placing blocks, or breaking blocks. Too bad you have to break the corrupted archiver block to loot the place. And just like zombified piglins, when one gets mad, all of them nearby will get mad. Some other smaller things that you'll be able to do here is by placing down a jukebox and playing the 5 music disc. Instead of hearing 5, the disc will turn into a new disc that's a full version of the piano segment from 5. Next up, a new block that you'll find in the echoes is the Sculk Brain. This is basically just a big brain from the potato update. It absorbs nearby XP similar to a catalyst and stores them inside of itself. With it, you can right-click while holding a bottle to harvest some of the XP to create an XP bottle. Or you can right-click while holding a glass block to harvest more XP and create a block of experience. It's just XP inside of glass. Using this, you can charge up archiver blocks to archive a larger area. Death in the echoes also works differently. Whenever you die, all of your items are sent to the portal you entered from. The reason for this is because recovery compasses won't point to the last place you died in the echoes, but rather point to a new structure. After following the compass, you'll find yourself at the Timekeep Temple, a giant pyramid entirely here to be the home of this place's boss. You can either go straight to the top with the stairs, or enter and go through a maze to help gear yourself for the fight. At the top of the structure, you'll find the Stalker, the guardian of this dimension. Visually, they're basically just the old concept art of the Warden. Partly because I didn't have time to make a new model. This boss fight basically flips the script on how you deal with the Warden, working to make you feel like the Warden. The Stalker will go invisible to circle you. Before they attack, they make a sound and a bunch of XP orbs will begin to circle them, like a tornado of leaves. If you attack where they are, they will reappear and freeze while you hit them. If you fail, they'll leap forward and for a second reveal that they actually have eyes. When they look at you, you'll be frozen for a second. After you attack them, or they attack you, they'll disappear again and summon Echo Souls to fight you. And after that, the fight loops. This is the general gameplay loop of the fight, and after you manage to kill the Stalker, they will drop a new item, the Archiver Key. This item will allow you, one time per player, to revert any of your structures in the overworld to their archived state in the echoes by going to the echoes and using the key on an archiver block. Had a base that you archived but then a creeper blew up an important part? Use the key and revert things back to the way that they were. Keys would mostly be used for more important times since you can always just copy the builds from looking at the echoes, but for the rare chance that you actually have to use the key, you can. Now, this is already super overpowered and very exploitable, so there are a few nerfs to using the keys. Each player can use an archiver key only once. Any area that's already been archived cannot have a key be used on it after the key has already been used on it for that area. You can only revert structures you archived, and most importantly, storage data will not be reverted. This is to prevent someone from just archiving a chest full of items, taking all the items out, and then using the key to revert the chest back to having all the items, basically just duplicating all the items. Unfortunately, this still would be possible with blocks that you can just place, but this is why you can only use the key once. Anyways, that's my concept for the Sculk Dimension. I know it probably seems lacking in content, but I wanted to make sure that it was something with a strong enough of a base to easily be able to update it after it's already added. At the end of the day, I personally think that if Minecraft were to ever have a Sculk Dimension update, could the next update be the girlfriend update? I swear, I have even more proof that this update is coming. Special thanks to my patrons on Patreon, and a bigger thanks to my gold tier patron, IK Zombie. Thank you all so much for your support, and thank you for watching this video, and I will see you very soon for the next one. Bye bye!